For an entire millennium, the most sought-after women in China were the ones who could barely walk. It sounds unbelievable, right? Well, this is a story of foot binding, a practice that, for millions, defined everything: beauty, status, even power. And what its legacy tells us about our own world? Well, it's pretty surprising.
And that's the huge question, isn't it? How on earth does a society come to believe that crippling, agonizing pain is the very definition of beauty? That's the mystery we're going to unravel today. So, to really get our heads around why foot binding lasted for so long, we first have to understand what they were even trying to do. See, it wasn't just about making feet smaller. It was all about chasing a very specific and very powerful cultural idea. They didn't talk about this in medical terms. No, they talked about it like poets. The goal was something called the golden lotus. We're talking about a foot so tiny it could literally rest in the palm of your hand, with a really dramatic curved arch. And this forced women into this teetering, swaying walk, the lotus gait, which was seen as the absolute height of feminine grace. You know, this tiny, broken foot was packed with so much meaning. It was like a walking billboard saying a woman's family was so rich she never had to do a day of physical labor in her life. It was a sign of her delicacy, her refinement, and her complete dependence on men. And here's the kicker. It was basically a requirement for a good marriage. It was a ticket to a better life, but one that was bought with a lifetime of pain. So how did this ideal get so big? Well, it didn't just pop up out of nowhere. It actually grew and evolved over centuries until it was just completely embedded in Chinese society. Okay, so it all starts pretty small, way back in the 10th century, as this kind of niche fashion trend among dancers in the imperial court. But then, during the Ming Dynasty, it explodes. It goes way beyond the palace walls and becomes a huge status symbol for the upper classes. Then it hits its absolute peak during the Qing Dynasty, when pretty much every Han Chinese woman from almost every social class was doing it. And then, bam! After 1,000 years of dominance, it's officially banned in 1912, and in just a couple of decades, it's pretty much gone. All right, so we've covered the why and the when. Now we have to face the how, because the poetic idea of the Golden Lotus was, well, a world away from the brutal physical reality of the process itself. So this would start when a girl was just a child, when her bones were still soft. First, her feet were soaked and her nails were clipped short. Then, her 4 smaller toes were curled under and pressed hard into the sole of her foot. After that, the arch was forcibly broken. The whole thing was then wrapped up incredibly tightly with long bandages to crush it into that lotus shape. And this wasn't just a one-time thing. Every few days for years, the bandages came off, the foot was cleaned of pus and dead skin, and then bound up again even tighter than before. And this right here, this shows you the unbelievable disconnect at the heart of this whole thing. On one hand, you have the cultural ideal. It's all poetry, grace, and beauty. But on the other hand, you have the medical reality. We're talking about shattered bones, rotting flesh, constant risk of infection, and a lifetime of just debilitating pain and disability. So how does a practice that's so deeply woven into the fabric of a culture for 1,000 years just stop? I mean, think about it. The story of its decline, which people call the Great Unbinding, is honestly just as remarkable as the story of its rise. It really wasn't one single thing. It was more like a perfect storm of change. You had Western missionaries coming in and condemning it. You had a new generation of Chinese thinkers and reformers arguing that this was holding the nation back. New ideas about feminism, nationalism, and just being modern were taking hold. Plus, the economy was changing, female labor was needed, and you just can't work in a factory with bound feet. It all came together, leading to official government bans and huge public campaigns to finally end it. I mean, just let that sink in for a second. A tradition that defined beauty and status for an entire culture for 1,000 years was basically wiped out in a single generation. It's a pretty staggering reminder of how fast even the most deep-seated traditions can just fall apart. So what do we take away from all this? What's the lasting legacy of foot binding? Its story is a really powerful lesson that goes way beyond this one time and place. It's really about the nature of culture itself. And this quote just nails it. Ending foot binding wasn't just about changing some old custom. For the Chinese reformers at the time, freeing a woman's feet was this huge, visible first step. It was a symbol for freeing the entire nation from traditions they saw as outdated, for empowering women, and for building a new, modern China. When you boil it all down, the story of foot binding is this powerful and, pretty extreme lesson for all of us. It shows how social pressure and beauty standards can literally shape our bodies and our lives. But it also shows that these standards, even the ones that seem permanent, aren't. They can and they do change. And that kind of leaves us with a final, pretty unsettling thought, doesn't it? The golden lotus seems totally incomprehensible to us now. But what about the things we do for beauty today? The surgeries, the extreme diets, the injections? What if, 100 years from now, people look back on our culture and find those rituals just as bizarre, or maybe even just as cruel?